Let's go, Carl.
This one,
We've been waiting for this one. We've been waiting for this one.
This could be good.
Okay, so this is the thing a lot of people in the sports community like to do.
This could be
hypotheticals. With these hypotheticals, you know.
Our answer here would be quite controversial. This could be this is.
So the last question is, how many championships would the Chicago Bulls have won if Jordan didn't retire in 1993, play baseball, and he didn't retire in 1998 because of Phil Jackson not being the coach anymore for the Chicago Bulls?
Ooh. Okay. Before I answer, once again we backtrack.
Don't be Skip Bayless, please.
No, I'm not Skip.
Joking. I'm kidding.
I'm just going to talk about how they won in 91 to 93 and 96 to 98 to put into context what my eventual. Again, in 91 they played the Showtime Lakers. And at the time, it wasn't such Showtime anymore. It was more of a grind out half-court set team with Worthy, Byron Scott, Magic, Vlade. Then during the series, Worthy and I think Byron Scott got hurt. Hence why the Bulls, Pippen and MJ just took over from the perimeter. So that's something that there goes one championship. So basically perimeter play. And at the same time, Scottie Pippen emerged into that all-defensive wizard that we know him by checking Magic for 5 games. 2, you have the Portland Trailblazers, another team that needs more credit to their name, more recognition.
Yeah, they made the finals twice.
Yeah.
They did make the finals twice.
It was just that deep in the NBA. You had Terry Porter, Clyde the Glide, you had Kevin Duckworth, Cliff Robinson, who was a nice role player. It was just once again, when the going got tough, when push came to shove, it was
definitely
Michael Jordan. When he needed the ball and when he needed to score, he just found ways. Now we go to the 93 finals against one of Jordan's best friends at the time, Sir Charles. Round amount of rebound. This one for me was probably the team that had enough firepower to match up with. You had Dan Marley, you had Kevin Johnson, you had Sid Ceballos, you had Sir Charles himself. This was a team that toe-to-toe didn't look. If you're a first timer who would watch the Suns play, you would think, they're not going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with the Bulls. But in those 6 games, they did. Even beat them in double OT. So you could say that might have been the best team they played in those 3 things. You could say, they were fatigued, that's why it became like that. But you have to put some respect on Sir Charles' name. MVP at the time.
Yes,
his team was playing hard.
They won 60 games.
Yeah, they had home court. Yeah, that's why they had home court.
But they blew it. But
but same again. Once again, those guys don't get credit because they ran into Michael Jordan in the playoffs. Now we skip 3 years later, we go to the 96 season. The Sonics were Gary Payton, Hershey Hawkins, Nate McMillan, Sean Kemp. That team was deep as well. Detlef Schrempf. Euro Stretch 4 before the Stretch 4s came in.
Yep.
So
you also had Sam Perkins as well. They had good shooting.
The OG Stretch 5. So once again, it wasn't that team wasn't good, but I think that 96 season, no one was beating the Bulls.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yep.
97, you go to a 69-win season. A team that could have gone back-to-back 70-win seasons. That's just crazy. Then you go against a team that was built to beat them in the grind-out, half-court-faced Jazz. Because again, yes, you say it's Stockton and Malone, they run a lot, but this was in the late 90s. This was
dump it down to Carl Malone, over the shoulder, fall away.
And then if not, double team Karl Malone, Hornacek, Brian Russell, Stockton would shoot those threes. So this was a team designed to bang with them, make things physical with the Bulls. And at the same time, if needed to run, Stockton and Malone would still run if needed to, and they would willingly do so. And no one's getting in front of Karl Malone in the fast break.
Your soul just checks out. It's just like, nope, not today. I choose to live. I choose life.
I think the only guy with the craziness to stand in front of Karl Malone probably would be Dennis Rodman. Dennis is that guy that you see 260 pounds coming right down, 6'9", 210 coming right down, what you do?
Yep.
Go and take the charge.
Yep.
Because he's not jumping over you. He's not jumping over you, so you
trying to go through you. Trying to go through you.
So that one, say what you want to say, but once again, the Bulls, it was a close one. This one was much closer than the 96 series, but again, push came to shove, and this was again MJ deferring to his teammates. Game 6, that's clinching play Steve Kerr. Then we go to 98, the last dance.
Yep.
Dance.
Can't wait for us to get to that point.
We go from, as mentioned in episode 4 and 3 and 4, they go 8-7 to 24-11 to finishing the year 62-20. They
struggled.
They went 38-9 to end the year. That speaks to the level of focus, readiness, and fire within that old team. Yes, I'm not calling them out for old, but at the time, just about every vital guy on that team was in their late 20s, early 30s, or mid 30s even. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, mid 30s. You could not say anything about that.
Yep.
Now, they get this one was more twisted because they got 7 games in the Pacers. This was a team that could adjust with them. You had Mark Jackson, Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, Dale and Antonio Davis, Rick Smith, Chris Mullin. This was the team that if you had to put teams across the board and say what teams would give the Bulls problems, this was the perfect team, especially at this stage of their playoff run. Because I'm not questioning MJ's fire, passion to win along with the Bulls. The rest of the Bulls' passion and fire to win. Many were just saying, when would this team run out? Because they never looked vulnerable up until Indiana came in. 7 games.
Yeah.
But again, once again,
Larry Bird.
But then, once again, it did take them 7 games, but they again accomplished, got over the hump, then got to 6. And once again, MJ comes into play. Now, for my answer, actually, this is tough because this has a lot of factors coming in.
Yep.
Let's say MJ doesn't retire in 93, plays in 94. That one, I think they could have won. I'm not going to go on the record and say they would have won because there's still a lot of factors coming in. I give them a 75-85% chance of winning the 93-94 finals. Now, this is where I say factors come into play. Entering the 94-95 season, Horace Grant was a free agent. So if they win 93-94, would he stay? That changes the perplexion of the last 3 championships. So let's say let's just go with how everything panned out in the past. Let's say he left. Let's say Orlando was desperate to break this apart that they overpaid for Horace Grant. Let's go with that. They overpaid for Horace Grant. They have to play Olajuwon again. This time around, without Horace Grant and with Bill Cartwright aging, I think, and with Duke Longley still trying to implement how to play the system, I think this one they would have lost if they did not find a replacement for Horace Grant. This is again the game of ifs, buts, wins. So, but if we're going with history, I'm not saying Jordan would lose easily to that 94-95 team, but you could make the argument that they could lose. For this 94-95, I give it a 50-50 because a 50-50 split because this 94-95 team was a 60.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't that 93-94 team that just ran shot over the West. It was a team that struggled, then heated up. So this one, to the viewers watching, you could decide which is which, but I'm going 50-50 on this on the account that I still cannot imagine myself picking Michael Jordan to lose anything in the finals.
Okay. I got it.
So let's say we go to 96, then everything falls up. They get Dennis, 96, 97, 98, they win. Now we go to rechanging history. Now we rechange history.
Yep.
We keep everyone for the 99 season.
Yeah. Jerry Krause.
Doesn't use Jerry Krause. Now, let's say we keep everyone. This is arguably the X factor to this. Many say a lockout provides rust, but for an aging team, it's rest. For a team that's, let's say, now you put in perspective, they go from 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. That's 8 straight finals appearances and 7 titles. Those 6 extra months of rest, yes, it will provide you with rust, but at the same time, by keeping them together, they don't have to adjust anymore. You just get to get back in shape, and then we're good. And at the same time, this was the time MJ was still at the apex.
I got it.
He wasn't MJ, but he was still apex MJ. And when Pippen came back healthy, it was still anybody's ball game. It was still there. It was still theirs to lose. Now we did go change history. Go back, keep everyone, get everyone refreshed and rested up for the Titan season. Against the Spurs, $1999.
Yep.
I think, the Bulls win this one. The Bulls win this one.
Okay.
My counter to that is Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell got them one game in New York. That's without Patrick Ewing. Now, when you switch people around, that's Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen attacking the perimeter. And then you have Dennis Rodman trying to deal with one of either Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Plus, add to that, Rodman's colorful past with San Antonio. I think you could say that he was one of those guys that he doesn't say much, but he's gunning to beat that team. So, I don't know if it'd be set. I don't know if how long it would take, but they would win this one. This one, I would be on the record and saying they would win 99. Especially everyone gets that full off season to freshen up and rest. Considering the last time we saw Scottie Pippen, who was limping in Game 6 with back problems, I think everyone rejuvenated to do something else. Because when you look forward to it, like 2 years later, everyone from that team who was still on the team was still productive role players. Steve Kerr was providing buckets for Pippen. Pippen was the lead veteran for that Portland Trail Blazers team. This was before the Jailblazers. This was Portland Elite. Luke Longley was a serviceable big in Phoenix. Rodman was serviceable in LA and Dallas. Just couldn't get the mind control him.
You know?
Yeah, they just weren't able to get him right. But everything else, he was still serviceable. 14 rebounds and another 13, I think, in Dallas. So they were still serviceable. Then skip a year later, when Jordan came back in 2001, 2002, MJ was still serviceable. He still averaged 20 points per game, 25 and 5. Say what you want to say. Yes, he was banged up. Yes, the knees were bad. Tendinitis was a thing. A lot of definitely father time took control, but he still averaged 20. Averaging 20 at age 38 is still crazy. When you compare it to Kobe averaging 16 at age 37, yes, Kobe played more years. But considering how MJ survived in the 80s, there's still a lot. You have to put some respect on Washington Wizards Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Washington
Some people
Wizards.
just try to push the Washington Wizards days under the rug, but
Yeah, everyone. You could make the case would sweep that under the rug, but before the knee problems came in, Michael Jordan was an MVP candidate in the 2001-2002 season, averaging 25, 6, and 5. So you could say, how is 38-year-old Michael Jordan still playing top 10 basketball?
I got it.
So, if 38-year-old MJ with that 3 years of rust was still quality, what more 35-year-old MJ with just a little bit of rest, just to get the mind ready, just to get the body freshened up, just to recover from an 82 game season plus that physical playoffs. I would pick him to win in 99. 94, 95. Since I have them 75, 85. Yeah, I think they win 94, but then if Horace Grant leaves, that's tough if Horace Grant does leave. But if Horace Grant stays, I think they win. However, if Horace Grant stays, there's no Rodman, so there's a lot of factors coming into this. But if we play history out that 94, 95 stayed the same, then everything changed 96 onwards. They'd go 8 of 9.
Okay.
How about you?
So if there's people who really love Michael Jordan, I might cause a riot, but I think they'll still sit at 6. I think they'll still sit at 6.
6?
Yep.
Okay.
And
I see that naman. I see the argument why. I can see it why as to why you believe so.
I will put it this way. So during the first three-peat of the Chicago Bulls, so the Houston Rockets were a Western Conference team. So they only faced twice every season.
Twice in the year.
The Chicago Bulls were 1-5 against the Houston Rockets.
No question on that.
Because Hakeem is different than everyone that they've faced.
Basically, different than everyone else at the time.
Yeah, because honestly, if it was any other player, pick number 1 in the 1984 NBA draft, people would have a problem. The only reason why people don't have a problem with the Rockets picking Hakeem is because he's freaking Hakeem.
Hakeem an all-time great as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, I also look at this from a human being standpoint, where it's just so hard. Even if Michael Jordan is just an alien and can maintain his focus, his teammates probably wouldn't have. Because I think you see it with all the dynasties. You see it with the 2000s Lakers. You saw it with the Heat. You know,
Warriors.
With the Warriors. Yep. And unless you can be the Celtics in the 60s and give people 30-year contracts,
basically
that
have
can
no
happen.
Get everyone else.
Yeah,
but
if ever they do win 4, would they win 5? Because
that's why
that's a chip. That's a big chip that you use in contract negotiations. Like, hey, I'm a end-time champion, kind of thing. And the more you have, the more leverage you have in your negotiations. But I just really think that the Houston Rockets were not a good matchup for the Chicago Bulls, especially in 94. Because in 95, what happened with the Houston Rockets is that they brought in Clyde Drexler. And Vernon Maxwell was sort of the shooting guard version of Dennis Rodman. He got pissed. He got pissed, and he started wrecking the whole locker room. And they really faltered. Yep. Mad Max in the best way possible and the worst way possible at the same time.
Kenny Smith on multiple occasions has said that if don't piss off anyone on that Houston team, but if you piss off Mad Max, you're putting a bullseye on your back.
Yeah. And it's just they were more complete of a team compared to the previous teams. I know Phoenix was a very complete team.
They were top heavy. They were top heavy.
And the problem was they didn't have any rim protection because Charles Barkley, as good as he was, he's not really a rim protector, and they had Mark West. Yes, they had Mark West.
Mark West.
You could barely slip a coin underneath Mark West when he's trying to go up for a block. And you also had Oliver Miller. Oliver Miller needed a dietitian really bad.
Oliver Miller.
He needed everything. He needed a keto diet, a vegan diet.
Just about any diet except for protein diet.
Except for McDonald's and donuts.
Basically, the anti-Charles Barkley diet.
Yes.
And to back up your point on Phoenix not having rim protection, this is where it slips into discussion. Barkley is only 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
So if Michael Jordan wants to drive and dunk over him,
he got it. And you know, Houston was formidable because they when I look at the opponents that the Bulls faced, they always had a weak spot. So like for the Lakers, well, their weak spot was the injuries because they wouldn't have one if they were all healthy. For the Blazers, I consider it kind of Kevin Duckworth. I'm sorry that the ugly jump shot, Kevin Duckworth, the one-handed floater jumper.
I think another swept aside X factor that is Drexler didn't have that Robin.
Yeah. It was kind of Terry Porter, but he wasn't as consistent as you'd like.
Terry Porter as your Robin. That's where discussions happen.
Terry Porter was actually kind of like how CJ McCollum is right now. As in where CJ McCollum's rank in the league.
Just a better defender, better facilitator, but not the quality of a scorer CJ McCollum is. Then again, a weakness for the Phoenix, definitely.
Yeah, the centers just like Oliver Miller. I feel for you, man. I feel for you.
If MJ and Pippen drive, they're taller than Charles. Yeah. So even if Barkley wants to push them out of the way, MJ and Pippen drive.
Yeah, I mean Jordan could dunk over the Monstars, so. So I really don't think, because even if you take the worst player on Houston's starting five, you'd have to go with Otis Thorpe. Would it be Otis Thorpe? Or because Kenny Smith was very underrated because he was such a dead-eye three-point shooter with good athleticism because he did join the dunk contest when he was in Sacramento. So he did have some hops.
But in the 90s, he didn't have it because he had knee injuries.
Yeah, but
that's why he turned into that. Also to piggyback on Houston was the original 4-out offense.
Yeah, because when Otis Thorpe went to the bench, they slide
Big Shot Bob.
Yep, and that was Big Shot Bob with the hops and the speed. It was a pretty good player for them.
It wasn't wide-bodied big camping.
And they had so many shooters on that team. They had Scott Brooks, the former head coach of the Thunder. Sam
Cassell was also there.
Yeah. Sam I am. So it was the most complete team I've seen in the 90s, aside from the Bulls. So I really think I just have, even though I do have the highest respect for Michael Jordan, I think that with the combination of just, fatigue coming into the 94 season, and Hakeem really found himself. He redevoted himself. I saw this documentary that he redevoted himself to his religion, and he was like, it was weird because Robert Horry said it was weird because he wasn't. You see when people are on a mission, like, you know, you see how MJ is so determined, like he's on a mission to win. Robert Horry said that Hakeem Olajuwon was on this sort of weird religious mission that he didn't understand, that included winning a championship. And I think that was a very powerful thing.
Just went to work. And again, to piggyback on Hakeem, as the aforementioned, what I mentioned earlier, go back for those watching, watch Open Court Decades. Shaquille O'Neal said, by paraphrasing it, said, Hakeem was the only big I couldn't get.
Yep.
The only big that toe-to-toe, if I get my 20, he's getting his 20. If I get my 30, he's getting 30. So, which actually is the reason is also what happened in the 95 finals.
Yep. And
Shaq
you know, but I think the Bulls would have made the finals in 94.
Yeah, that was
because
them retaining
yeah. You know, I'm sorry, but John Stark, I know, New York Knicks and like Stephen A. Smith, I hate bringing this up, but John Starks was the Brett Favre of the NBA. He was the person who could win you games and lose you games
and make you cry.
Yep, and make you cry. They released it on the NBA channel on YouTube. The game 7 of the NBA Finals.
94? Oh no.
People didn't watch it for Hakeem. People watched it for John Starks.
2 of 18, baby. 2 of 18.
But it was just that Knicks team was really good. However, John Starks just always had his, Michael Jordan always just had John Starks' number. So I don't see how they could have made it out of the East with the Bulls. With the Bulls.
Also, to piggyback on that, Pippen got that team to 7.
Yeah, he did.
What more with Batman?
Yep.
What more with the almighty Superman?
God dressed up as Michael Jordan.
I don't think that was Michael Jordan. To quote, I don't think that was Michael Jordan. I think that was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
And then for 94 and 95, this is where it kind of gets a little bit dicey for me, because I actually feel like even if they did make the finals in 94, I just think it would have. I just don't think they could have kept that arc. They would have dipped slightly, so I think it would have stayed the same, even with a non-rusty MJ. And especially if, like you said, Horace Grant did leave.
That was the X factor to that, because one thing I've watched some videos about this. What they did with Shaq was, if Shaq's going to post up, they were going to leave the 4th guy open.
Horace Grant had a good jumper. Horace Grant had a good jumper.
It just so happened that the 4th guy they left wide open.
Horace Grant.
That's why I said,
it's just it's kind of hard for me to think that they would have beaten the Magic. It would have been a longer series and a more hard-fought series, but I still think, sometimes I feel like the 96 to 98 run wouldn't have happened if they didn't reload. They needed something to happen for them to reload.
With that point, I agree. I don't disagree. I mean, I'm not going to go toe-to-toe with you about this, but again, the points you made are very valid. For example, Hakeem they never faced a big like Hakeem. No disrespect to Duckworth, Marquez, Oliver Miller, and Vlade, but Hakeem in the 90s,
and even the second three-peat, like the centers they were facing, the center for Seattle was Brickowski.
Frank
You remember Frank Brickowski? I don't care your skill level. I dare you to try to shoot a jumper with Frank Brickowski in 2K. That thing's not going in. And then the thing is, even if they did have Greg Ostertag in Houston, in Utah, he was just a big guy. The 90s were a time when, even though there were a lot of really skilled big guys, you did have some big guys that were just like, that's what they were. They were just big guys.
They were bangers.
Yeah.
their role was to make things
they're the players with no other badges except Hall of Fame brick wall.
And I think that was again same. So basically, this is the same thing. In the '99 finals, let's say everyone's healthy, they would play a twin tower combination like they've never seen before.
Yeah.
A twin tower combo that perfectly complemented each other because they could take turns initiating from the high post, low post, mid range, and then just everywhere else.
Yep. And the X factor to this is Kevin Garnett talked about this in Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes' podcast. It's like Kevin Garnett was like, the person I never wanted to talk trash to was Tim Duncan. Because nothing's gonna happen. It's not gonna do you any good. It's just gonna take you out of your game. So this kind of negates what Dennis Rodman does really well, which is get under your skin. There is absolutely no getting under Tim Duncan's skin. And that also goes through with David Robinson, because David Robinson's disciplined as hell. He is an army dude, you know. The Admiral.
The Admiral.
And then they go with Avery Johnson, who was a very good floor general. He would get everyone the rock. They had a shooter in Vinny Del Negro. I think he should still have a coaching stint. That may be disputable, but I think he deserves a shot sometime. But not before Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson first.
Yeah, Mark Jackson first, definitely.
Yeah, but then they also had Sean Elliott. So Sean Elliott was actually really good. Sean Elliott was an underrated player for those first teams.
Once that was a guy who got swept under the rug because of the talent. But another quality 20-point guy.
Yeah.
Quality guy.
I think the Chicago Bulls would have ran through the East. Because the number one seed were the Miami Heat, and it's not like they weren't good, but it was one of those situations where, like, when LeBron beat the 60-win Atlanta Hawks, it was like, yes, we can see that they're a really good regular season team, but we don't see how they could go all the way. Although no one expected them to lose in the first round, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, but this is how it speaks into existence. Everyone in the East, you're talking about everyone in the East now, when LeBron was still there.
Yeah.
This is a much higher degree of owning a conference. MJ owned everyone in the East, no matter what you say. As after he got over the hump of Detroit, every East team was like, no matter what you do, what you try, you're gonna get beat one way or another. The Knicks in 93, 7 games, they'll beat them. 98 Pacers beat them. The Heat several times in the playoffs beat them. The Bullets, the Cavs in 93, the Cavs in 92. 92 or 93, I'm not sure with that, but anyone you put in front of them, those teams are great all the time when you look at it, but when you match it with this Bulls team when they're locked in.
Yep, and I mean, much respect to Reggie Miller, because Reggie Miller is actually one of the only people who doesn't back down from MJ. You can see it.
Oh yes. But
although, is he the best? Is Reggie Miller the best basketball player in his family?
Ooh, I think
everyone gives him some shit for that,
However, if your sister is arguably the greatest female basketball player of all time, I don't think.
Anyway.
Woo! Like there was something he said na his guys were bullying him for losing to Miller. Then he told them, "Why don't you play him? Why don't you play her?" Then when they played her, it was like, "Okay, we'll back off. Like,
got it. So for the tally, you have 8 out of 9. I still have 6 out of 9. So
those watching,
Bulls fans, don't hate me. If you do so, do it kindly. But I just feel that's the way it is. It's just like, it's hard to keep something going that long. It's just, that's how I feel.
I agree on that. I mean, for those watching or those who will watch this, you can leave down in the comment section how you think we answered this, and we did give out arguments, so you can point out counter arguments to do so.
Right.
Do it in a nice manner, though. We're just trying to we're focusing on our mental health here, so you gotta be just. If you want to bring up a point, bring it up, but don't be one of those people that picks a fight online. So we did have our points and arguments in all 7 questions. So if you guys have questions about our answers, go ahead and list it down, and we'll oblige to answer.
All right, and much thanks to you, Carl. This was actually the first time this has been done on the channel, so we're gonna get some more done. So
definitely looking
next week.
For more.
Let's go.
Let's go. 5
and 6. All right.
No problem.
All right, and we'll see if we can get some people to join us here.
That'd be good. That'd be great.
All right. So thanks again, and for everyone who's watching this, if you like the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then, as Carl said, if you have any comments, violent reactions, hopefully not too violent, or like any questions about what we said or our reactions to things, leave them in the comment section down below also. And if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe. It would help us out a lot. Here's Migs and Carl PH. So, peace.